Okay, it appears we're live. Hi, everybody. This is Mike, and I'm going to simulate the 2000s decade for Pro Strategy Football and for Second and 10, compare results and see how these games predict results. So, before we begin, I have full screen. Double check that I've got this. Oops. Yeah, okay. You'll see full screen. Um, Prior results I have done from the 1970s forward, and I did that because that was the league merger, so I felt that that was the easiest place to start between me bouncing between the NFC and the NFL and the AFL. If we were to do the 60s, it was just easier. Um, so I've added, for those who have followed before, you'll see a matchup column, and what I'm denoting here is um, if the game, and I would just verbally say it in the past, but if the game actually predicted the actual matchup of the Super Bowl, I've included. So to clarify what you're seeing here, in the yellow are second and 10 results for simulating seasons. In the red, it's Pro Strategy Football results for simming a season. And in blue is what actually happened in real life. So, as a quick refresher here, second and 10 predicted two AFC champions correctly in the 1970s. They predicted three NFC champions correctly, and you can see the matchups in yellow. They didn't predict any actual Super Bowl matchup, both teams correctly. They did predict two Super Bowl champions. They predicted Dallas would win in 1971 and Miami would win in 1973. Pro Strategy Football is in red. They correctly predicted three AFC champions from the 1970s, three NFC champions from the 1970s. They did not predict the actual correct matchup between two teams for the 1970s. They did predict four Super Bowls, and actually they predicted the last four their actual winners: Oakland, Dallas, Pittsburgh, going back to back from 1976 through 1979, respectively. In the 80s, second and 10 predicted four of the AFC champions correctly in the 1980s. They predicted four of the NFC champions correctly in the 1980s. They predicted, actually, it says one, two. That's actually a mistake. I'm glad to see this. They predicted three matchups correctly. Let's save that. I'm a human being, so I make mistakes. Uh, they predicted three matchups correctly for the Super Bowl. And second and 10 did predict one Super Bowl champion in the 80s correctly. That was the 89 49ers. Pro Strategy Football for the 1980s predicted half of the AFC champions correctly in the decade. They predicted six of the NFC champions correctly. They predicted three of the actual matchups correctly. 1980 Philadelphia against Oakland, 88 San Francisco Cincinnati, 89 San Francisco Denver. And on three occasions, Pro Strategy Football predicted the actual Super Bowl champion: San Francisco 84, Chicago 85, and San Francisco 89. Now we go to the 90s, which I summed yesterday, and before we continue, I want to note that someone on Facebook noted to me that I incorrectly denoted that Green Bay was the Super Bowl champion in '97, and for Pro Strategy Football, and I entered them listed Pro Strategy Football correctly predicting the NFC winner and the Super Bowl winner. A Facebook member noted to me off of one of the Facebook pages I posted to is either Digital Dice or Sports Simulations, my error, and he was right. So I've made the correction and I've tabulated. I've redone the tabulations. So if we look at the 1990s, and this was sim yesterday, there's another video on it. Second and 10 correctly predicted two of the AFC champions. They correctly predicted half of the NFC champions. They correctly predicted one actual matchup that happened, 1993. They said Dallas against Buffalo. And second and 10 correctly predicted four of the Super Bowl champions: 93 Dallas, 94 San Francisco, 98 Denver, 99 St. Louis Rams. Pro Strategy Football correctly predicted three AFC champions, five half the NFC champions. They correctly predicted two matchups: 1990 Giants and Bills, and 1993 Buffalo Dallas. And Pro Strategy Football correctly predicted three of the Super Bowl champion winners: 91 Washington, 93 Dallas, and 99 St. Louis Rams. So yesterday I said that Pro Strategy Football had a slight edge with the numbers that I tabulated, but again, I tabulated incorrectly. Um, so these are the refreshed numbers, but again, I did add matchup. So second and 10 surpassed by one the total number of Super Bowl champions predicted in the 1990s, 4-3. Uh, and I mean, and I said yesterday it was Pro Strategy Football in the 90s, probably by a hair. Um, Now you could argue maybe it's the same, it's roughly equal, and maybe second and 10 by a hair because they did predict four Super Bowl champions. But nonetheless, these are uh, similar uh, ultimate results when it comes to the number that they predicted correctly. So now we will proceed to the 2000s, and we will begin with the 2000 season. It was the year the Ravens defeated the Giants in the Super Bowl, and I have Pro Strategy Football in second and 10. Excuse me, I have already loaded um, the 2000 season, so I'm going to quick play the 2000 season. And I've already loaded it here for Pro Strategy Football. I will sim the season. Okay. We go to second and 10. I'm just waiting for the results to finish tabulating. And we will see what second and 10's prediction is for the 2000 season. And let's quick play it. And second and 10 says the Denver Broncos in 2000 defeat the St. Louis Rams 45-29. Okay. And neither of those are correct. Was it 45-29? Yes. Neither of those are correct, I'm afraid. So we'll go to Pro Strategy Football, and its result had the New York Giants defeating the Tennessee Titans by a point. And the Giants did play in the Super Bowl, but they were defeated by Baltimore. Tennessee had the best record in the AFC. Baltimore was actually a wild card. Um, so the fact that Tennessee got in is still believable. So the Giants win 33-32. Oops. So the NFC matchup was correct. Okay, we'll move on to 2001. Okay, 2001. I'm going to restart the 2001 schedule. Okay, that playoff is correct. And I will run that. And now I'm going to load second and 10, 2001 season. Okay, I'm quick playing it. Now in this season, um, New England defeated St. Louis Rams. So let's see what Pro Strategy Football's already run it. Let's see what their result is. Wow, they got the matchup correct. The St. Louis Rams and the New England Patriots. Only they have the St. Louis Rams winning the Super Bowl 39-13. Okay, so that is St. Louis 39, New England 13. Got both of them right. And it got the matchup correct. Did not give us the right champion. All right, let's take a look at second and 10. Create a playoff. Sorry, folks, allergies. All right, and we have the New York Jets defeating the Green Bay Packers in 2001, 23-16. Okay. Oops. I'm afraid neither of those were correct. All right, let's go to 2002, and we'll quick play that season. And I'll come over here and select 2002 for Pro Strategy Football. 2002, and whoops, that's the correct playoff setup. 2002 schedule, and we'll sim it. Okay, let's create a playoff for 2002 with second and 10. Quick play that, and let's see what we get. Whoops, there we go. We get Pittsburgh defeating Tampa Bay by 4 points. Now, Pittsburgh was a playoff team, and they actually beat Tampa Bay in the regular season. I remember that was a Monday Night Football game. I remember watching it. Um, and they beat them in the regular season, so if they made the Super Bowl, it would be believable. But see, Tampa Bay is a correct team. So it was Pittsburgh 18, Tampa, whoops, Bay, was it 14? Okay. And they got the NFC representative correct for second and 10. Let's see what Pro Strategy Football did. And the result, we have the actual matchup. We have the Oakland Raiders against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Oakland wins 26-17. Okay. So we got the AFC champion correct, the NFC champion correct, the matchup correct. We did not get the right champion. Okay. Oops. Sorry about that. Don't need that anymore. Okay. So let's save that. All right. I'm going to load the 2003 season. Be sure this is right. Oh, I was right. 2002 to 19. 2003 schedule. Okay. I'll sim that. Sim the whole thing. And their Super Bowl winner is already in. Let's go to second and 10. And we'll do 2003. And I will quick sim. And while we're waiting on that, let's see what second and 10 predicted for 2003. In real life, the Patriots defeated the Panthers. And here we have the Chargers defeating the Falcons. Okay, 27-24. So neither of those teams is correct for Pro Strategy Football. Okay, let's do the playoffs now for second and 10. And quick play it, and we get the Carolina Panthers defeating the Tennessee Titans. Now, Carolina was in the Super Bowl, so second and 10 does get that correct. Carolina 31, Tennessee 28. So they got the NFC team correct. All right. Let's now move on to 2004. And 2004 was the year the Patriots defeated the Eagles. Okay. All right, that playoff's right. Load custom schedule 2004. We'll start the season and we'll simulate it. And we have a result. Okay, I'm going to create a playoff for 2nd and 10 doing the 2004 season. Quick play it. And we have Pittsburgh defeating Green Bay. Hi, Al. Is a season for allergies, not just baseball? Yeah, it is, I'm afraid. Um, okay, let's see. We have Pittsburgh defeating Green Bay 27-6. Pittsburgh was 15-1 that year. I don't recall what Green Bay was. So 27-6 Pittsburgh for 2nd and 10. And neither of those results is correct, although the Pittsburgh one is believable. Let's see what Pro Strategy Football says. Well, Philadelphia got in, and they did make the Super Bowl, except they played the Jets. I don't remember the Jets that year. They were 11-5, and they were good. They weren't not anything to sneeze at. So we have Philadelphia defeating the Jets 20-17. Okay, so we got the NFC representative correct. Pro Strategy Football. Okay, so at this point, 2nd and 10 has correctly predicted 2 NFC representatives between 2000 and 2004. Pro Strategy Football has correctly predicted 2 AFC representatives, 4 of the 5 NFC representatives, and gotten 2 of the matchups correctly, but has not correctly predicted a champion. Actually, neither game has correctly predicted a champion. All right, so we will move on to 2005. Whoops. 2005 was a year Pittsburgh defeated Seattle. And while that's running, okay, the playoffs correct. Load the schedule. Uh-oh, where's 2005? Oh, there it is. Weird it comes before 2002, but okay. All right, let's go ahead and sim that. We have a result. Create a playoff here. Quick play the season, and we have the Colts defeating the Giants. Now the Colts were 14-2, and they were predicted to win the whole thing, but got upset by Pittsburgh in the divisional round. So the fact that the Colts were in it at all is, even if they lost for argument's sake, absolutely believable. So Colts and Giants 33-17. So we have it's neither team is correct for representation. And see, for Pro Strategy Football, we have Seattle defeating Cincinnati. Now, Seattle did make the Super Bowl. Cincinnati was 11-5, as was Pittsburgh. Cincinnati had the tiebreaker. It might have been 12-4. I can't remember. But Cincinnati, I think they were 11-5. They hosted the playoff game against Pittsburgh, but that was the game where their starting quarterback, Carson Palmer, got hurt early on, and they weren't able to recover. So maybe they would have done something in real life. But we got one team correct, Seattle, and they beat Cincinnati 34-28. So we got the NFC representative correct. Okay, we'll move on to 2006. 2006 was the year the Colts defeated Chicago. Okay, that's right. 2006. Okay. we'll simulate everything. Playoffs 2. We have a Super Bowl winner. We'll get that to the moment. We'll take a look at what 2nd and 10 does for us. Again, this should be the Colts defeating the Bears. And we have the Colts winning. That's correct. They defeated the St. Louis Rams 20-13. Okay. So the AFC representative is correct, and the champion is correct for 2nd and 10. They got Indianapolis going back to back. Okay, let's see. For Pro Strategy Football, this again should be Indianapolis defeating Chicago. And we have Baltimore defeating Dallas 12-0. Wow, that's interesting. Okay, neither of those is right. Okay. Now, I'm wondering if this, just out of curiosity, 12-0, is this one of those classic Baltimore's offense just can't go anywhere, but they've got the field goal kicker who can kick everything? Let me just see how they, I just have to see. Um, Baltimore stats. Steve McNair was a quarterback at the time. Let's see, kicker. Oh, he's got 2 field goals, and it looks like they must have, who got a touchdown? Their fullback Anderson got a touchdown. I don't know. Maybe they went for 2 and didn't get it. It might be under highlights. I just have to look. Yeah, here it is. In the fourth quarter, Anderson had a 12-yard touchdown run, and the run 2-point conversion attempt failed. So that is what happened. So they have 2 field goals, a touchdown. They went for 2 to try to make it 14-0, and they didn't get the 2-point conversion. I was just curious. Sorry. Okay, we'll go now to 2007. And I know this is going to cause pain for Al. This was the year the Giants defeated the Patriots. Where is that? Okay, just double checking. 2007. Okay, correct playoff format. Load 2007. And sim the whole thing. And we have a winner there. Let's do 2nd and 10. Whoops. There we go. And quick play it. And we get, if it will go, there it goes. Dallas defeating Indianapolis. Wow. Okay, well, Dallas was 13-3, and I remember they just got beat by New England. They were kind of in the game, I think. It's been a while. Colts were still good. Okay, so Dallas defeats Indianapolis 31-27. All right. Dallas 31. Okay, neither of those is correct. Pro Strategy Football tells us the Packers, who just missed getting into the Super Bowl, they got edged out by the Giants in overtime, defeat the Colts. Wow, both games have the Colts doing better than the undefeated Patriots. Interesting. Okay, Green Bay, Indianapolis. What was the score again? 33-14. Okay, so neither of those is right. Okay, now we go to 2008. And this is going to be Pittsburgh defeating Arizona in real life. And we'll quick play it. And we'll come over here and set up for Pro Strategy Football. Okay. Last night. 2008 schedule. And we'll sim the whole thing. We have a Super Bowl winner there. Let's see what we have here for 2nd and 10. Again, this is Pittsburgh defeating Arizona. And we get Indianapolis defeating Philadelphia. Philadelphia was in the NFC Championship game. Indianapolis was 12-4, the same record as Pittsburgh, but they were a wild card because the Titans were 13-3, and they had to go into 8-8 San Diego, and they got upset. But they had a solid team. So 26-21, Indianapolis defeats Philadelphia. Okay, neither of those is right. But you can see 2nd and 10 likes Peyton Manning. 3 Super Bowl appearances, excuse me, 4 in a row, and they won 3 of the 4. So now I know who to take when I play 2nd and 10. All right. Well, you're not going to go wrong with Peyton Manning anyway, so. Okay. Whoops, what am I doing? I already simmed this, didn't I? I already simmed the 2008. And it's still going to be there. Sorry about that. All I need to resume. Okay, who won? The Colts were in it, only this time they lost to the Saints. Okay, so neither of those is right either. Saints 24, Colts 21. And I will say, let's see, 2nd and 10 has the Colts in the Super Bowl 4 years in a row, winning 3 of 4. Pro Strategy Football has them in there 2 years in a row and losing each time. Excuse me. Now maybe they'll have them in 3 years in a row and win, or what have you, because they were at least in the Super Bowl in 2009. That's what we're about to sim. 2009. We'll quick play that season. And let's see. This is the year the Saints defeated the Colts. All right. 2019. And this is 2009. Okay. We'll sim that. And we have a winner for Pro Strategy Football. We create the playoff now for 2nd and 10. Quick play. 2nd and 10 result. San Diego beats Green Bay by a point, 17-16. Aaron Rodgers, when he was starting to get hot, made it to the Super Bowl with that team. Okay. So let's see what Pro Strategy Football tells us. We have the Colts in the Super Bowl. That's correct. Only they played Minnesota. But the Colts won 24-17. So we do have the AFC representative correct. All right. We have simmed the 2000s. So let me double check here. Spot check here. All right. Let's do our totals. 2nd and 10 correctly predicted. 1 AFC. Actually, let me make this all one of these. These are all, I think they're all 16. All right, so let me make this whole row 16. So font size real quick and make it centered. Okay. 2nd and 10 got 1 AFC team correct. They got 2 NFC teams correct. They did not correctly predict a matchup, and they did get 1 Super Bowl champion correct. Pro Strategy Football got 3 AFC champions correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 NFC champions correct. They got 2 matchups correct. And they did not predict a champion. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Scroll this up so you can see. 2nd and 10 in yellow. Pro Strategy Football in red. Pro Strategy Football did better predicting AFC champions, NFC champions, and actual matchups. But 2nd and 10 is the only one that actually predicted a Super Bowl winner. One thing I'll note while looking through all this is if you compare this to when I'm moving my mouse over here, that's the 1990s. You'll see that, and if you actually go higher than that, you'll see that, and this is the 80s, you'll see the games were better. Both games seem to be better, probably with the 70s too. The 70s was a little lackluster comparatively speaking. But the 80s and 90s, both games seem to do a lot better with spitting out more along the lines of what actually happened. The 70s seems to be a little more variety, and the 2000s absolutely looks like there's more variety in who could possibly win this. So that's where we are right now. And eventually I will do the 2010 decade, so 2010 through 2019. And then after I do that, or when I do that, I will tabulate total from 1970 to 2019, and I'll give a grand total of those 5 decades, and we'll see who comes out on top. But for right now, it looks like offhand it's Pro Strategy Football has the advantage. We can do it real quick. Let's see, 2, 4, that's 6, 8, 9. All right, I'm just going to go bare bones here. Let's make this whole thing. Okay, and the whole thing we want to center. All right, so I'm just doing this on the fly. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. 3, that's 7, 12, 14. Matchups. None. 3, that makes it 4. 4 matchups. And actual champions. 2, 3, 7, 8. Okay. 3 and 5 is 8. 11, 14. 3 and 6 is 9. 5 is 14. 19. Okay. Matchups. None. 3. That makes it 5. And that makes it 7. And champions. 4. 3, 7. 10. 10. Okay. The numbers you see here, and I'm going to call it overall total. Okay. Here's where we're at overall from the 1970s to the 2000s. All seasons. Yellow is second and 10. Red is Pro Strategy Football. Pro Strategy Football has more correct AFC champions in these 4 decades, 14 to 9. They have correctly predicted more NFC champions, 19 to 14. They have correctly predicted more matchups, 7 to 4, and they have correctly predicted more champions, 10 to 8. So basically, they have gotten, what is that? 1 and 4, because it's 40 years. Actually, it's 50 years. 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. No, it's 40 years. Um, so Pro Strategy Football has correctly predicted 1 and 4 Super Bowls apparently, and almost half the NFC champions. Where Second and 10 has predicted a little more than a fourth of the NFC champions, and uh, just under a fourth of the AFC. So right now, here's the overall setup, and in each situation, Pro Strategy Football has the advantage. The I think the decade where maybe Second and 10 may have a technically advantage over Pro Strategy Football is the 90s, but it would be by a hair if you want to look at it that way, because they did predict more champions by 1. So, and again, this is all subjective, it's all opinion. But um, one thing I would like is, I don't know if anybody watching has action PC football with various decades. I've got the game, but I don't have a whole bunch of decades worth. I don't know if anybody would be willing to, and I would just take your word for it, just tell me the result. Uh, Run a simulation of whatever decade you may have, whatever seasons you may have, and we can compare action PC football and see how their results do. But in any case, this is it for now. And at some point, I will do the 2010s, and we'll see how both these games compare. So, thanks for watching, and have a good morning.